Now the story of the Jewish exiles who lost everything, and the one man who had no choice but to help them rebuild it. It's the book of Nehemiah.
I think everybody's got different levels of anger. You got the levels that are just above basic annoyance, and then you got stuff that goes all the way down to super seething mad. And my guess is that if you just think about it for a second, you can kind of rank those out in terms of what makes you a little mad, what makes you medium mad, and what makes you the most mad. And for me, I discovered the most mad when I was probably 10, 11, maybe 12. And I think I've maybe told the story before, so I don't need to tell the story again. And plus, memory fades, so I don't want to get details wrong on a story where I'm calling somebody a liar. But somebody was a liar when I was roughly 12. We were friends. We were just getting to know each other. And a situation happened where he made a big flashy show of himself, trying to impress others. And that was fine, but it wasn't any of our idea, and it was entirely his thing. We're like, okay. Well, then he got in trouble for the results of that big flashy show and lied to his parents. And instead of acknowledging the truth, which was the other people in the room were like, that's not such a good idea, dude. I don't know. And we didn't go along with any of it. Instead, he blamed me and the other people in the room. Now it sounds like scandalous. I should have just gone detail-wise. The issue in question is $5, to be clear. And what happened to the $5? It's not really that salacious a story or anything. But it made me so angry when we're there and the story's coming out and the kid knows he's lying. It's not even like, could be misinterpreted. Maybe. No. He knows he's lying. And I am just an unfortunate casualty in a game he has to play because this is a lie he has to tell. And I had never in my life felt anger burn so hot as I felt in that moment. I think I mentioned that was when I was 12. Look, I forgive the guy, right? He was probably 12 or 13 or something too. People do dumb things when they're 12 or 13. I hope people forgive me for dumb things I did when I was 12 or 13. I hope people forgive me for dumb things I did yesterday. Nehemiah chapter 6, we got a similar deal going on. The enemies of Nehemiah, they can see he's got everything stacked up. Everything's rolling in the right direction. It's working. He even overcame the gigantic financial crisis. I mean, the enemies of Nehemiah, they tried to do the thing where they're like, let's just sit back. Look what they're doing with their money. They're going to implode anyway. All we have to do is wait. Nope. Because Nehemiah found out about the money problem, and he just Nehemiah'd the heck out of it, and the money problem got resolved. So now, the enemies of Nehemiah, the external enemies, they're all upset again, and they're looking for ways to destroy him, and they couldn't do it physically. They couldn't do it with light complaining and comment cards. They couldn't do it with the sit back and wait for your own destruction plan. So now they're going to have to be offensive and try new stuff. And the new stuff is going to be straight up lies, I think designed to just get Nehemiah to go out to the ancient equivalent of the abandoned docks at 2 a.m. and get murdered. So they invite him 4 times to come out and meet at the villages of the plain of Ono, O-N-O. But Nehemiah figures out they were scheming to harm me. So I sent messengers to them with this reply. I'm carrying on a great project and I can't go down. Why should the work stop while I leave and go down to you? I love it. I'm doing something you're not. Be a thinker and a doer, guys. You're not being that. I'm being that. I'm taking ground. You're trying to kill somebody or disrupt someone at the very least who is taking ground. No, I'm not going to your stupid murder party at the village of, what was it? Oh no. I'm not going there. It has "oh no" literally in the name. I'm not going to it. 4 times they sent me the same message, and each time I gave them the same answer. Carrying on a great project. I can't go down. Why should the work stop while I leave it to go down to you? It's great. Verse 5, then the 5th time, Sanballat sent his aide to me with the same message, and in his hand was an unsealed letter. So now you're getting a much fancier, maybe wax-sealed invite to a death party. It's still a death party, but the envelope and the delivery method is a little bit cooler. So what's in there? Verse 6, in which was written, quote, it is reported among the nations, and Geshem says it is true, that you and the Jews are plotting to revolt. Well, first of all, let's talk about this Geshem fellow's integrity level and whether this character vouch really means anything. You know what? Why even go down the rabbit trail? It doesn't. Because remember when he tried to murder a bunch of people who were just stacking bricks, like the perfume maker and the guy who works at the jewelry shop, and he was going to murder them or something with a spear. And remember, these guys already lied about fake revolts and things like that. Who cares what Geshem says? Dude's a liar. But this is a trick. You know this trick, right? If you've ever had a job, if you've ever gone to school, sadly, if you've ever gone to church, this is a lot of people are saying trick. Hey, look, a lot of people don't like what's going on here. And it kind of comes to me to come and talk to you about some changes that need to be made. I can't say who the people are, but here's like one of them. But there's a lot of people who don't really like what's going on. So you should change who you are and what you're doing, right? Oh, really? There's a lot of people who don't like what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't like what's going on. So I should probably change what I'm doing, right? Yeah, you should probably change. This is a way that sneaky people try to bring about change in a way that's transparently ridiculous to you and me as we're sitting here without any duress or pressure on us. But Nehemiah's got duress and pressure on him. And while probably the thing about Geshem, your blood enemy, says that this is a bad thing, like that's his vouch, aren't you concerned about what Geshem thinks? No. But the next part, he might be concerned about that. I mean, a lot of people are saying that you and the Jews are plotting a revolt, and therefore you're building the wall. I mean, moreover, according to these reports, you're about to become their king. And I'm just going to do a little brief paraphrase here because I think I know the tone of this letter from my own experiences in life. I'm sure that's not what you're doing. I mean, that's insane to even consider rebelling against an Achaemenid king. I mean, I just think back to what happened during Cyrus's conquest of Lydia. And they tried to rebel against him 2 or 3 times. And that was a bloodbath. I mean, that's about the same distance away that we are here. And so I know you know that. And I know that you wouldn't want to bring that kind of ruin and fiery revenge impulse down from the throne of Persia upon you and your people. So clearly, you're not trying to give off this vibe. But, dude, a lot of people are saying it. And I just think we need to talk. I mean, it's a concern, a valid concern. And we just want to help or try to understand. Obviously, we would need to report this and are planning to. And we don't want to. We don't want to report it, Nehemiah. Come on. Like, we have had our rough patches, sure. But we don't want to have to. I mean, can we just talk about it and get a better sense, like kind of the insider take on what you're feeling? And we probably won't murder you at all at a remote village. We just want to know what you're thinking. Maybe you could just reassure us, like look us in the eyes because, we're all men of integrity here. And you could just tell us that you're not trying to rebel. And then we wouldn't have to file that unfortunate paperwork. But we don't want you to tell us that like in a well-lit place where you have armed guards and like the police there and stuff. We think it'd be better and more believable if you told us at, hang on a second, the village of Ono, clear out in the desert alone with no police escort. So they say, moreover, according to these reports, you're about to become their king and have even appointed prophets to make this proclamation about you in Jerusalem. Quote, there's a king in Judah. Now, this report will get back to the king, so come on, let's meet together. You don't have to be a Bible wizard to catch some of this language here. This is an old trick that maybe the enemies of Jesus even remembered. I mean, it was on record. The Pharisees during the time of Jesus, they would have been familiar with Nehemiah. I bet they'd read the whole thing, maybe even twice. How weird is it that they take a page out of the Sanballat and Geshem playbook? The people who were trying to destroy Jerusalem, the Pharisees of Jesus' time, are taking a page out of that ancient playbook to try to, at least ostensibly, stop an evil man from Nazareth who's trying to destroy Jerusalem. Wait, huh? What? That's desperate and bizarre for the Pharisees to have grabbed the tactics of a blood rival who only a few hundred years earlier wanted them and everything about them dead and gone, swept away and buried in history. They're grabbing onto those tactics. You catch what I'm talking about, right? They're saying that there's going to be a proclamation, a prophecy, who's going to say there's a king in Judah. Now, what's Sanballat and Geshem and Tobiah, what are they implicitly saying with that? We have no king but Artaxerxes. It sounds a lot like what the religious leaders were yelling to Pilate when Jesus is on trial. So this fake, smarmy, lying loyalty, this projection, where they cast upon Nehemiah a bunch of values or plans or schemes that they have for themselves. They've got this fake piety and patriotism, whereas Nehemiah has actually been pious and patriotic. Assuming that the Achaemenid Empire was a pretty good one of the better ones we've seen in the ancient world, and assuming that we're reading the Bible right and that it seems to hold them out as being ordained by God to accomplish a few good things right here, well, Nehemiah of the two is the one who's not subverting anything. He's the one who earned the trust and the ability to go right to the seat of power, which access to that is the most valuable currency in the entire Persian Empire. He got that. He earned that over time through a bunch of little decisions to be trustworthy, and he's been nothing but loyal, patriotic even along the way. But his enemies are the ones who are scheming to try to deceive the king. They're the ones who are operating in opposition to the will of the throne, who has commanded this rebuilding to occur and funded this rebuilding. And they once again look like dishonest clowns, and Nehemiah once again looks really cool. What's he going to say to the invite? Verse 8, final thing for today. I sent him this reply. This is Nehemiah talking. Nothing like what you're saying is happening. You're just making it up out of your own head. I think it's great. He's one of these men of few words dudes. And I mean, come on, let's just say that we had to sum this up. Okay, I ask you a question. Is there any truth to what Sanballat and Geshem are saying? No, nothing like that is happening. They're making it up out of their own head would be probably the best, most concise answer to the whole thing. And Nehemiah picks that answer. Delightful. I love this guy. There will be no murder visit in Ono today. That's plenty for today. I'm Matt. This is a 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.